Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another build guide. Today we're going to be going over the updated Penshot rapid fire build for AoZ. This version has much better survivability and damage, mainly thanks to the new glyph, but as you'll see, my gear is super unoptimized for this setup. As normal, we'll be going over skills, playstyle, the skill tree, gear, the vampiric powers, and the changes to the Paragon Boards. Also at the end of the video, we'll also be going over the seekers and effective ways to combat them. But before we get into the build, enter the dark fantasy RPG of our sponsor, Bloodline Heroes of Lithis. Create your own unique legendary champions by combining bloodlines like elves, demons, demigods, orcs, dragonborn, vampires, and more. With its innovative air system and breathtaking visual, Bloodline takes RPG and gacha gameplay to an entirely new level. Throughout your adventure, you'll find different companions of different races to raise heirs, and by taking your favorite heroes from the different bloodlines, you can marry them together to create over 800 new fantasy hybrids. The hybrids inherit talents and traits as well as a unique appearance passed down from each family tree, merged into one, creating your ultimate champion. And with new champions being released every 2 weeks, you have endless combinations to create and build your ultimate team. By taking part in guild wars, you can conquer territories with your guild members and claim rewards to create the most unique hybrid champions called Bloodcraft Legends. Not only that, you can also take part in the Luxus Tournament, which is a competitive event where players deploy champions with the goal of winning battles and advancing through various stages. With its intricate rules and strategic gameplay, the Luxus Tournament offers an exciting and challenging experience for all participants. By scanning the QR code on screen or clicking the link in the description below, you can get a special starter pack worth $20 to kick off your adventure. And the first 30 players who leave their in-game username and account ID in the comments section below will receive a free legendary champion, the Luxuriant, and she is one of the strongest mages to carry you through the game. Starting off with the skills, we'll be using Blade Shift, Dash, Penshot, Golden View, Rapid Fire, and Puncture with the specialization combo points. Now the reason for using two basic attack skills is for close quarters. Even though it is a bit strange to go this route, Blade Shift allows us to proc the Cutthroat bonus to get a huge damage bonus from the close quarters passive node. And it also gives us Blade Shift so we don't get stuck or buddy blocked by mobs, which is a big plus. But being up close all the time can get you killed pretty easily, so we mainly use Puncture to build our combo points, and when we need a big damage bonus, we'll use Blade Shift to proc close quarters. We still want to be kiting mobs and avoiding being up close for too long, but because of the amount of CC we have, we can freeze and safely use Blade Shift to get close quarters up. Penshot is our main form of clear, and for tanky elites and the seekers, we'll use Rapid Fire with Golden View to burst them down. As for the skill tree, we're going to start off picking up Puncture with Fundamental Puncture, Blade Shift with Primary Blade Shift, going into 3 into Sturdy, maxing out Penshot with Improved Penetrating Shot for that extra critical strike chance, then Rapid Fire with Advanced Rapid Fire to get a 30% crit multi. Then we'll go all the way into Weapon Mastery. We'll go 3 into Rugged to help with some poison damage. Dash with Enhanced Dash. 4 points into Dark Shroud with Subverting. You can also go Countering for some extra crit chance, but I personally prefer the movement speed. 1 point into Exploit, 3 into Malice, 3 into Frigid Finesse, 1 into Cold, picking up Mixed Cold Imbuement to get that 40% damage multi against frozen enemies, 3 into Innervation, as this is our main form of energy sustain, 1 into Adrenaline Rush, 3 into Haste, and finally picking up Close Quarters. Onto our gear and aspects. As I stated earlier, my gear is nowhere close to being min-max. I'm missing some good res and armor percent rolls, so survivability could be a lot better. Same goes for my weapons and jewelry for the most part, as a lot of the stat prio has changed and I'm still using most of the gear from the victimized setup, so damage could be a bit better. Anyways, starting off with the helmet, you want 2 resistant rolls followed up by armor percent and life. For the aspect, pick up Umbros so we can generate Dark Shrouds for free with Penshot for even more survivability. Or if you're fortunate and have Harlequin's Crest, go ahead and use that and put Umbros on the chestplate. For the chestplate, you want to get 3 resistance rolls followed up by armor percent. It's really important to get all of your resistances capped. If you're able to get them capped without having 3 res rolls, go ahead and get life on here instead of one of the res rolls. And for the aspect, go for Might for some more damage reduction after using a basic attack skill. For the gloves, get Frostburns. With the Tybolt's combo points bug, Penshot gets so much lucky hit chance that it almost always freezes enemies, giving an insane amount of crowd control. And being able to freeze everything makes it super easy to get our blade shift attack off with proc close quarters. Tybolts, you want to prioritize getting a high primary resource roll to get the most damage out of them, followed by getting a good roll on the unique effect. The resource that Tybolts gives applies to your combo points, giving a ridiculous amount of damage and lucky hit chance for Penshot, and rapid fire, it allows it to also shoot around 30 arrows per cast. For the boots, I went with Penitent Greaves to get some extra damage against chilled enemies. But if you're using Harlequins, I would swap this out for some legendary boots to make up for the resistances lost. Next up, we have the weapons. I went for a bow for the faster attack speed. A crossbow will give you some more damage, but personally I prefer using the bow. For the stats, go for Dex, All Stat, damage to crowd control, and for your last roll, go for either core damage, damage to vulnerable, or crit damage. For the aspect, I put Rapid here. You could put a damage aspect like Edge Masters, but to me, having Rapid here makes alternating between our basic skills and our core skills feel so much better. And for the melee weapons, you want to go for Doombringer and Condemnation. Doombringer gives a ton of survivability with the life and damage reduction it gives, and Condemnation is how we fill out all 22 combo points, giving us that insane damage and lucky hit chance boost. If you don't have Doombringer, go for a legendary dagger with the same rolls as the bow with the aspect Expectant. And finally, the jewelry. For the amulet, you want to get armor percent, damage reduction, ranks 2 weapon mastery, and for the last roll, either dex percent for some more damage, cooldown reduction, or movement speed. And for the aspect, go ahead and place Disobedience here. For your rings, on both of them you want to get life, crit chance, damage to crowd controlled, and for the last roll get either vulnerable damage or critical damage. Before, I would go for lucky hit chance here, but because we don't really need it for rapid fire, there's really no point in investing into it. For the aspects, you want to get Trick Shot to make our Penshot have that spread, and Edge Masters or Expectant for the other. For the gem sockets, get rubies for your armor, emeralds for your weapons, and for your jewelry, if your resistances aren't max, balance them out here, otherwise go for skulls for the extra armor. And next up, we have the seasonal mechanic, the Vampiric Powers. First, go for Metamorphosis, giving us Unstoppable and a little farther range on our evade. Next, Ravenous for the insane attack speed stem. You can either go for Prey of the Weak or Domination next for the damage multi. Prey on the Weak is more reliable to have up, but Domination gives a bit more damage against enemies when they're frozen. And finally, pick up Resilience and Undying for the extra survivability. And now for the Paragon Boards. If you followed the previous Penshot rapid fire build, you'll notice that the board setup is quite different. Starting off with the glyphs, we're picking up Ranger for some extra marksman skill damage. Moving on to the Cheap Shot board, we're taking Tears of the Blood and we're putting it here, and that's giving us a good bonus to our Devious node here, giving us some more damage against crowd controlled. Moving on, we're taking Combat in the Exploit Weakness board. Up to the No Witnesses board is where we're putting our Control Glyph. And finally, in the Cunning Stratagem board, we're going to be placing Exploit here. Now, you don't really want to max out Exploit. We don't really care about the vulnerable damage it gives. The main thing we want to do is get it to at least 25 out of 25, just to get that additional bonus so we can always have enemies vulnerable. Next, for the legendary nodes, we're picking up Cheap Shot, as we're going to be freezing pretty much everything on screen most of the time. Then Exploit Weakness gives us a huge damage bonus against Seeker. With rapid fire shooting out so many arrows, it stacks us up almost instantly. Then lastly, we have Cunning Stratagem. This gives us more lucky hit chance with Penshot, and then rapid fire shoots a ton more arrows. And that pretty much sums up the Paragon boards. I will have a link in the description below to the build planner so you can follow the Paragon boards and this entire build more closely. And now we'll just go over some effective ways to deal with the Seekers. Once they spawn in, ideally you'd want to run away and attempt to just slowly ease your way back in to get one of their aggros and drag them over one at a time. In the gameplay, I kind of messed up and had to fight all three. When you're fighting the Seekers, you want to be constantly moving and trying to group them together, so when you cast Penshot, you can try to freeze all three of them at once. Once they're frozen, go ahead and use Blade Shift to proc the close quarters bonuses, followed up by a cold imbued rapid fire to get some damage off. As soon as they unfreeze, you want to be on the move again, and you just repeat the cycle, kiting, freezing, and bursting. It may take a few tries to get used to, as the Seekers have incredible speed, and you can get caught and bursted down if you're not too careful. And with that, we sum up this build guide. Again, a big thanks to Bloodline for sponsoring this video. I highly recommend you go check them out in the link below. Also, I'm sorry for the lack of uploads recently. I'm trying to get back on top of things, so let me know what you would like to see next. That's all for today. Remember to have fun and take care.